You're listening to the John and Heidi Show Bonus Hour. If you miss any of the program, you can find the podcast at the bottom of the page at sunnyradio.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a guest coming up here in just a moment. We'll visit with Paula Schnurr. She is the executive director of the National Center for PTSD. Now, at the tail end of June, they had National PTSD Awareness Day. And this is also a day that a lot of folks who struggle with PTSD because of 4th of July, all the fireworks going off, it's probably a trigger time for a lot of folks. So we're going to be chatting with Paula coming up here in just a little bit about that. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
Give yourself a little credit.
It's more important than ever to have a better credit card. At bettercreditcards.com, we offer a variety of credit card options to fit your needs. Whether you want a card to give you cash back or a credit card to help you build your credit, we probably have it at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Give yourself a little credit. Go ahead and switch to bettercreditcards.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Going to visit today with Dr. Paula Schnurr, Executive Director for the National Center for PTSD. First of all, Dr. Schnurr, thank you so much for your time. Now, let's talk a little bit about PTSD, and how do you know if you have PTSD?
So PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a mental health problem that can develop after a person has been exposed to a traumatic event, such as a physical or a sexual assault, combat, a natural disaster, or a serious accident. About 6% of all people in the U.S. will have PTSD at some point in their lives. The symptoms include intense, upsetting memories of the event, avoiding reminders of the event, anything that triggers the memories, changes in thoughts and feelings, such as being guilty or angry or numb, and hyperarousal, feeling keyed up. It's actually quite common to have these symptoms after a traumatic event. Most people will have at least some of these symptoms. That's not necessarily PTSD. The symptoms tend to go away in the days and the weeks that follow an event. And so PTSD is only diagnosed when the symptoms are severe and they last at least a month.
And you were talking a little bit about things that can trigger. This time of year, with the 4th of July and fireworks, and people start that, it seems, earlier and earlier every year. For people who are maybe having PTSD related to combat, this is probably a big time of year for triggers like that, isn't it?
Well, some combat veterans do report being triggered by fireworks. And so it's important to have awareness of this for people to not think that, to wonder what's happening or think they're going crazy. I think it can be very helpful to avoid fireworks if they bring distress to a person, and also for the general public to have sensitivity and awareness around this. Loud noises may also trigger others, non-veterans with PTSD, if they're frightening and loud, and not, especially not knowing that there are fireworks. If you're not viewing the fireworks and expecting them, the fireworks can trigger anyone.
Now, we just wrapped up PTSD Screening Day. That was June 27th. This is something that's important for people to do any time of the year, but right now is the time to do it. Let's talk about how they do a self-test for PTSD.
So to take the self-screen, your listeners just need to go to ptsd.va.gov/screen. Now, a self-screen is just a brief questionnaire that a person takes themselves. For PTSD, the screen has 6 yes or no questions about traumatic exposure and the symptoms of PTSD. It only takes a minute. And so if you've had a traumatic experience in the past and you're struggling with some symptoms, even if the event happened long ago, it can be helpful to learn if your current symptoms may be related to the past event and you may have PTSD.
So if somebody takes that self-test, now I'm going to throw a link on our social media for them to be able to find it really easily. But if they take that and they find out that, hey, it's pretty likely I have this, what is the next step?
The next step is to reach out to a healthcare provider. In many cases, it could be a primary care provider, a mental health provider, a community mental health center. But it's important to reach out because PTSD is treatable, and this is the first step that people can take toward getting the treatments that will help them. I would say to any of your listeners that if you've taken the screen and your results indicate you may not have PTSD, but if you're having symptoms that bother you, still reach out because you may have something else for which you could receive treatment.
And what are some of the most effective treatments that are available for PTSD?
The most effective treatments are certain types of psychotherapy and medication. The most effective treatments are trauma-focused psychotherapy. And all that means by being trauma-focused is that the treatment focuses on the memory of the traumatic event or its meaning and works with someone to decrease the distress caused by the memory and the effects that it's having on a person's life. The three most effective types of trauma-focused psychotherapy are called cognitive processing therapy, prolonged exposure, and eye movement desensitization, EMDR. I also mentioned medications, though, and for some people that would be a preferred treatment, and the most effective medications for PTSD are some of those that we use to treat depression. The important points are that PTSD is treatable and there's a range of treatments that people can choose to help them.
I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us today, Dr. Schnurr. I appreciate it a bunch.
Thank you.
And again, our guest today, Dr. Paula Schnurr, Executive Director of the National Center for PTSD. If you would like to take the self-screen, I've got a link to that to make it really easy to find at facebook.com/sunnyradio and facebook.com/Sioux Falls News.
Did you know you can allocate a percentage of your IRA to physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover? You can put your IRA back on the gold standard. Genesis Gold IRA is the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. GenesisGoldIRA.com would like to help protect your IRA today with a simple phone call. Learn more and get the phone number at GenesisGoldIRA.com. That's GenesisGoldIRA.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show bonus hour. I would like to invite each and every one of you to come out and join us tomorrow night for the Sioux Falls fireworks. Now, I've had several people ask, what are you going to do if we get rain? Here's the thing. We've been keeping an eye on that. I hope we don't, but if we do, then we've got a rain date of July 5th. Now, if you want to know what's going on, if you want to stay up to date, be sure to listen to Sunny Radio. Be sure to follow Sioux Falls Fireworks or Sunny Radio on Facebook. We'll be making announcements in both of those places. Facebook.com/Sunny Radio. Facebook.com/Sioux Falls News, Facebook.com/Sioux Falls Fireworks. So all of those places will be giving updates. And again, I'm hoping that the weather kind of just holds off and allows for us to have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing day tomorrow. But if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it'll happen Wednesday. So again, I've had several people ask, what do you do if we have rain? Well, we've got a plan. I hope we don't have to use it, but we do have a plan. I'm hoping that we can just do everything as planned tomorrow. We're pumped and excited and ready to go. It's going to be an amazing evening, whether it's tomorrow or Wednesday. But again, hoping for tomorrow night. SiouxFallsFireworks.org has all of the information. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
How much do you pay for your cell phone every month? If that's more than $15, it's time for a Mintervention. Mint Mobile makes it affordable and easy to switch. Get a new phone or bring your current one. Whether you're a fan of iPhones or Samsung, they both work well with Mint Mobile. At Mintervention.com, you can see the current special offers from Mint Mobile, offering premium wireless for just $15 a month. That's far less than most people are paying. Just $15 a month. Learn more now at Mintervention.com.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, July 3rd, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets advanced last week as the bear market rally gains momentum. The rally was driven by a trio of good news that amounts to news that is not as bad as expected, or news that points to additional rate hikes this year. The takeaway is that the economy and the market remain in transition and will likely top out soon. The question is, when and how bad will the next correction be? As it is, the S&P 500 could reach a new all-time high by the start of the peak Q2 reporting season. This week will be a holiday-shortened week with the 4th of July Tuesday. The market volume will be light, but action may be volatile, specifically Friday when the NFP report is released. The labor data should confirm that labor markets remain tight, but other data such as wage gains and layoffs may darken the picture. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Why did the chicken cross the road? To save money on insurance at InsuranceChicken.com. Do you have the best plan for you? Find out at InsuranceChicken.com. Let's face it, we don't even want insurance. We need it. But you don't need to overpay. Head over to InsuranceChicken.com to see your rates from several different companies. All available in one place at InsuranceChicken.com. The other guys have a gecko, a duck, and an emu. Why not a chicken? InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.